Good morning, Abraham. My question is pretty simple.
Our answers are too.
I know.
We only have one answer, which makes it really easy. Clever about the way you all are able to ask your questions in such a way that our one answer always fits.
I would love to go on the Hawaii cruise this January. And I was looking at the flyer when I got here today. At first I thought, okay, that would be nice, but I can't do it. I can't afford it. So then when I was looking at the flyer today, I said, oh my gosh, I really want to go on that cruise, but I don't have the money and I would have to work extra shifts. And what about my son? Should I really go on the cruise if I couldn't afford to take him? So I want you to help me get into alignment with, I want to go on the cruise. And
the other day, Esther said to Jerry, Abraham never bails us out of a jam. And we say, that's because you all try to get too much leverage out of your in-the-moment action. So as you stand here, the cruise is months away, and so as you stand here and you receive a flyer, you hear about cruises, you hear about the fun that they're having, and you launch this desire. Now, you didn't just launch it. In other words, you've launched desires like that. And so you've got that stream going pretty good about wanting to live a wonderful life and wanting to taste new things. And there's a lot of that in your vibration and already in your vibrational escrow. So that stream's already flowing, and something called it to your attention and caused you to add a little bit more momentum to that stream. And as you added a little bit more momentum to the stream, it felt good for a moment until you began remembering what the reality of where you're living right now is. And that's when you sort of rooted your feet right to the floor of the stream. Now, the stream wasn't bothering you before because it wasn't flowing so fast relative to this topic. But now what you've done, or what Jerry and Esther did to you by sending you this flyer, is that they caused you to cause your stream to go faster, and now your stream's going faster. Your existing resistance is showing up in a stronger way. Slower stream on that topic, not bothering you, but now the stream's moving faster. The way you feel about it is bothering you. So the tendency is to say, I need to right now figure out how I can accomplish this thing that I want. And what we want you to understand, and this is where Esther's acknowledgement that we don't bail them out of any problems, we're always teaching them down the road. We're teaching them to, here's the best example that we can give you. A really good example. You'll really hear this. So the other day, Jerry and Esther were driving the monster bus and towing the car behind it, coming from San Francisco to San Diego. And the last 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 times that they have taken the car off the bus, the drive shaft disconnect, which they pull a little lever and it disconnects the drive shaft so that the wheels on the tow car flow non-resisted. Oh, what a thought. Then when they come back into the campground and they unhook it, they have to re-engage the drive shaft. And for some reason, it's not re-engaging. It's out of alignment. They've taken it to 4 different repair shops who've worked on it for hours, and they announce that it's fixed, and then the next time they tow it, it isn't. And so Jerry has to crawl under the car and line it up visually and take a little hammer and hammer it into place. And he's always able to do it, but it isn't fun. So they're driving, and they're about 3 hours from their arrival in San Diego, and Jerry begins thinking about being there. And he says something to Esther about the tarp and the hammer, and he's preparing for the inevitable. And Esther said they'd been reading the new book that is going to be released in October, and as they were in that sort of everything's possible, we create through our thoughts, law of attraction is powerful mode. And now Jerry is fast forward, and he is anticipating, expecting, assuming that it's going to be the way it's been the last 5 times, which is really, really logical. It's logical that nothing fixed it since the last time. And then Esther said, since we're not there yet and we don't have to deal with it not working, we have 3 hours. Why don't we for that 3 hours when we think about that? Why don't we see it as we want it to be? Now, it was an odd mix of feeling within them because their assumption and expectation was definitely upstream. But their desire was something else altogether. And Esther was making the point, we've got 3 hours, so why mess up these 3 hours by facing a reality that we don't have to face yet? Can you hear this? Mm-hmm. So they changed the subject. When they thought about that, they played the wouldn't it be nice if game. And they had a lovely 3 hours of driving. And when they got there, Jerry crawled under and hammered it into place because it wouldn't go in. But what we want you to hear from that, now this is important because your logic says, well, it didn't work. And we're wanting you to understand that you're creating down the road. You're creating down the road. In other words, when you face reality and it doesn't work and your drive shaft disconnect won't reconnect and it doesn't work and you have to hammer it into place. And so you assume and expect that nothing's going to change about that. And you keep beating the drum that it's been in 4 different shops and nobody's been able to figure out what's wrong with it, then you keep projecting that into your future experience. When you keep facing reality, you keep making your future experience be a vibrational equivalent to that reality. Where what Esther was beginning to understand, she understands it, but she was applying it to something that was so difficult to apply it to. In other words, the reality is so in our face. And yet, if we could ignore the logical, expected, assumption reality, and we could imagine something different and get our vibration going differently, then out there somewhere in their future is the solution to this situation that they've been disallowing themselves to find. It's like you take one, you want to be here and you're here and you keep taking a step forward, but you keep the same distance between you and the solution. Mm-hmm. So with all of that, what we're saying to you is, if you are looking at your current financial condition and beating the drum of that, then even though you have the power to launch this forward, even though vibrational escrow is already including not only the wonderful trip, but the means with which you can comfortably pay for it, not just pay for it, comfortably pay for it, not just go by yourself and abandon your child, go and take your child. Yeah. In other words, the universe is accommodating you for, because with every time you're thinking about, I'd like to go, but I shouldn't go, but I want to go, but I shouldn't go, but I want to go, but I shouldn't go, but I can't afford it, but I want more money, but I can't afford it, but I want more money. Well, even if I could get the money, I can't take my son. I want to take my son. In other words, as you're sifting through this, all kinds of desires are firming up over there. And if you can resist the temptation, and we know it is a big one, because reality is so in your face. Your current situation is so real, it seems like it deserves your undivided attention because you are fact-based people. You want to face reality. You want to tell it like it is. You don't want to be deceptive. The only problem with telling it like it is that it can't change. If you keep telling it like it is, it can't change. You've got to start telling it like you want it to be. And so what happens is, so Jerry and Esther told it like they wanted it to be, and when they got there, it was still like it is. But they had 3 more hours of vibrational airtime that was like they wanted to be, which means their solution is closer to them than it was before. And as you keep reaching down the road, and the thing that we really want you to hear, it's really as simple as this. My worrisome thought is turned against the stream, and anything I can do that causes a relaxing of that improves my situation on all subjects, no matter what it is. So I want to go, feels good, but I can't afford it. Just do anything you can to stop thinking that thought. So let's turn in the stream here, and we want you to do it. So Get yourself to the place where you've revved up the stream, you know you want to go, the idea of it is really pleasing to you, your current situation is such that you can't afford it. What kinds of things were you saying to yourself? I don't want to go into greater debt. What kind of things were you saying?
I don't want to go into greater debt. I don't want to have to work extra shifts. I want to feel comfortable going. I don't want it to be stressful taking time off for that 2 weeks.
All right, so all of that is an upstream battle, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So now, with the desire still present and pulsing, now try to talk in a way. We don't want you to turn your boat around it and put a motor on it. We just want you to talk in a way that you feel the tension about that soften and evaporate.
It would really be nice to go on the cruise. Adam and I would have a really good time on the cruise.
All right, now with that, all you did is cause the stream to move faster with existing resistance. So we imagine that if you're feeling sensitively, that tensed it up just a little more.
Okay.
So your goal is to talk yourself into relief. That relief is your goal. Going on the cruise isn't your goal.
Okay.
See, this is the thing that going on your cruise isn't the goal right now. Relief is. Turning the canoe is. That's your goal.
Okay.
Just finding relief. The stream will take you on the cruise. Your goal is just to let go of the oars so that the stream will turn you. Making sense?
Yes.
So important. You see, in any moment, you really only have two choices: to feel better or worse.
Right. And right now I'm sitting here, and it's comfortable for me to be here. And I had the money to pay for the seminar today, and I have a friend staying with me that's visiting, that I'm enjoying her company. Is that kind of what you're
Well, only
meaning?
you know. Sometimes what we've noticed is when you get really specific, now you're trying to figure out how. In other words, let's see, I can do this, so maybe I can do that, and maybe I could just work some extra shifts, and now you're trying to figure out how. Now you're getting so specific that now you're almost turning upstream. So step back from it in a more general sense and see if that does a trick for you. I usually can do what I want. And if not this cruise, another one. And I might be putting too much pressure on myself to try to make this happen so quickly, but it looks like there'll be another one and another one. And so I don't have to get on this one this red hot minute. And whatever happens, it'll be wonderful. And I know I'll make the right decision when I make the decision. And I don't have to decide today. And so now your tension stopped. Now, here's the thing that we really want you to hear. Just that general conversation, your tension stopped, which means you're no longer pointing upstream. And your stream is still flowing because your desire didn't go away. Mm-hmm. So what happened just now is you began to close the gap a little bit. And next time you approach the subject, you're approaching it from a different vantage point. So now, we felt that happen within you. Now talk about the cruise and see how it feels.
I just want to say I just feel so much more relaxed just from what you just told me.
So the goal is to realize that step one has already taken place. Oh boy, has it taken place. In other words, me on that cruise or on some cruise has already taken place. It is a vibrational reality. And so now all I have to do is find a way that I don't defy it, that I don't hinder it, that I don't keep it from. And how do I know when I'm hindering it? I feel tension around it. So does that mean I have to take this negative thought of I can't afford it and turn it into the positive thought that I can afford it? No, it doesn't mean that at all. All it means is I have to stop activating that negative thought, and when I do, I'll feel relief and the stream will turn me and I'm making progress. And then every time it comes up, I'll just do the same thing. And before I know it, it will feel like the next logical step. Now, here's something really important that we want you to hear. We want you to go on the cruise. We want you to have everything that you want. All manifestations are wonderful. We want them for you. But what we really, really, really want you to get the sense of is how delightful life is when life causes you to find opportunities and you let yourself, in an attitude of belief, turn and flow in the idea of the opportunity. In other words, that's the thing that Esther realized finally. That 3 hours could be a pleasant 3-hour drive or an uncomfortable 3-hour drive. Why not make it a comfortable 3-hour drive? Why not feel good on your way to what's unfolding rather than bad? Because you never get to the end of it anyway. There's always another opportunity, and there's always another reason to be in the stream. And this is the thing. We'll take a segment of refreshment now, but we want to leave you with these very powerful words. Your life is on the stream. In other words, this is a stream that never ends. And so we want you to make peace with being on the stream.